So you've been thinking for a while, I think I'd like to be a content creator. Well, it's about bloody time. Oh, hey, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. How to be a neurodivergent content creator. Do you want to do this? Yes. Okay. Why? If you can't answer why, you won't be at all successful. Why is that? Yes, I'm asking why to the why question. You have to understand, if you want to be a successful content creator, why you want to create content. Now, you don't want to create content to be successful. That's just a byproduct. So, why do you specifically want to start recording content about autism, ADHD, any other form of neurodivergence? Is it because you want to help your kids have a better life? Or is it about your quality of life? Is it to help others? Is it to advocate? Is it to call out the things that are in the way of our quality of life? Is it to entertain? Is it to do something that's never been done before? There has to be a legitimate why. So that's the first thing to ask yourself. Why am I doing this? And the reason is because authenticity is the absolute key to content creation. You just have to be yourself. You just have to be open and honest. Now, authenticity feeds into vulnerability. You need to be vulnerable. You need to show all your sides. One of the first things content creators often ask me is, I recorded a video, but I hate it. I don't like it. So I'm just going to delete it and start again. My first and really only piece of advice is I'd publish it. What do you mean? I hate it. Yes, but let me ask you, who's your target audience? Is it you specifically? Because you can make content to watch yourself and you don't have to publish it. You're not your target audience. This isn't about you. This is about others. So I can tell you, I've done videos where I was probably in such a bad place. In my mind, I wasn't even trying to be professional for YouTube. And I've put a video out, even though I didn't like it. I thought it was crap. And it was a highly resonating video, a high-performing video. So the key is understanding why you're doing it. What's your channel name? What's your mission statement? These are, if you don't know these two things, well, the channel name is useful, but if you don't know a mission statement before you start, then you're not ready to start. Because the mission statement has to be the focus of every piece of content you make. Right? Am I validating someone in this video? Am I supporting someone? So let's get down to the tech stuff. Okay, how did I start? My first probably couple of years as a content creator, so making videos for YouTube and socials, was literally just done on my phone. All you've got to do is make sure, and I'm not joking when I say this, if you have a smartphone with a camera, you can be a YouTuber. You can be a content creator. Now, this is what people are used to. This is what you have to do. Now, you can still make shorts out of this, but you need to record it like this for YouTube, for TVs. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to hold my phone, rest it up against something. There's a few options. What I did early on was I just bought literally the cheapest possible tripod I could find designed for smartphones. So they have these, cheap ass smartphone tripods that come with the attachment at the top that has like it's like these almost like tongs, and you separate them and you put the phone in, and then the tongs close up and keep the phone steady. So what you've got to do is once you have your smartphone on your tripod with a little smartphone adapter, you have to set your shot. And this comes down to where are you going to record your video. Make sure that the shot is clearly visible on your phone, and then you push record. Before we get to sound and other things, let's talk about where you shoot. So to this day, I still just shoot in a room in our house. There's no room that's soundproofed. Everything is, just turn it on, turn it off, work it out as I go. So where are you going to record? You want to find a nice, comfy place that you feel safe in, where you can control the lighting. What do I mean by that? So there's no use going to a room where you can't control the natural sunlight coming in if the sun is going to blind you, but also completely shadow your face or ruin the shot or turn you to an orange person because it doesn't look good on camera. Now, natural light is fantastic to use as a content creator, but people always get the mistake of putting the natural light behind them. If the natural light is behind you, the camera is going to absorb the bright background and in effect shadow you. You only ever want to shoot, if you're just going to use natural light, like Orion, I don't want to buy any lighting. We'll get to lighting in a sec. Natural lighting, it needs to be coming in front of you. It doesn't have to be straight on. It could be coming from either angle, but the natural light, the sunlight, needs to be coming in from in front of the shot. Then you won't get the shady, weird, it's not good. Okay, they're just basic lighting tips. The first bit of lighting I invested in, which I still use today, is just a stock standard cheap ass ring light. So an LED ring light. Okay, I tend to use the warm one because the bluey one just really washes you out. It goes all the way around. Honestly, I turned it on to the point where I've only twitched it up a couple of little clicks and it's barely on. But you can see how powerful it is. So the best thing to do when you're starting out is to hit record, sit in the chair or the stool or wherever you're going to talk, have the light on to what you think's about right, and then talk for 30 seconds. Stop and then watch it on the camera, but also download it and watch it on the computer you're going to edit it on, because you need to see how it looks when you're actually watching the file, not just through the camera, okay? Now, you might want to turn it down or turn it up. Natural light's free. If the sun's too bright or it's too dark, then you could invest in something as inexpensive as a small LED light or a small or a large or whatever size you want LED ring light, which is very common these days. You know, people that want to have their influencer status and that kind of stuff. So you can do that, and then you can move on to, more potentially expensive, but still relatively inexpensive box lighting, LED lights, okay, but they are proper kind of studio LED lights. So it's a solid box of LED lights, and you attach a soft box to it, which in effect, a soft box is just a fancy word for a bit of material that diffuses the light. Okay, instead of this light going straight in your face like a ring light, it kind of diffuses it outwards and softens up the picture. So in effect, a starter equipment setup for a new content creator can be as simple as a computer, a smartphone, a ring light, and microphone. This is a big one, not just because I spent most of my career before content creation in radio, but sound, in my opinion, if content is king, sound is queen. And here's why. If you watch a YouTube video and it looks amazing, but it sounds absolutely horrible, can you continue to watch it all the way through? It tends to get a bit grating. Okay, so sound is super important. Yes, it needs to look good, but it also needs to sound good. Now, when I started off, I bought, again, a very inexpensive lapel mic. Okay, so I was using, whether it's an adapter, a headphone jack adapter, or USB-C adapter or whatever that had the headphone jack in one end and it goes into the smartphone. I would use a small adapter and a lapel mic. So lapel mic goes straight into your smartphone. Why is that good? As a beginner, when you're editing, one file is everything, audio and visual. So if you've got a smartphone on its tripod, 2 meters away from you, and you're just talking, the volume picked up by the smartphone, like inbuilt mic, is going to be significantly less in quality than any other mic that's directly plugged in or directly connected through Bluetooth, wireless to your smartphone. So these days, what people tend to find quite popular is wireless microphones that are like lapels, but either just clip on to a shirt or attach magnetically. In the past, I've used Rode Wireless Go type microphones. These aren't product placements. I don't get money for this. There are no links to buy them. I'm just telling you what I've used. So, like a Rode Wireless Go, which has a transmitter, which just connects to, your phone again through a little cord, and then you hold one and it's picking it up. Either way, it's picking it up in conjunction with what you're recording. Okay, so the one file on your smartphone has the video and the audio that sounds and looks bloody great. Using your smartphone, remember, it is okay to just use the camera setup. You don't have to overuse it. But these days, they have some great settings. They have 4K settings, which again will take up a lot of space, but will look much better as opposed to HD. And they have cinematic settings. It will give you that blurred background. So recording directly on your phone, or most startup cameras don't have the lenses or the ability to kind of give that blur background look. It really comes down to what you think you're most comfortable doing. For me personally, I just started off in the normal standard camera setting with a lapel mic plugged into my smartphone, talking to my smartphone, recording a video, and then putting it into the computer and editing it on free software. iMovie, I use that. Everyone has their own free or easy to use editing software programs. Again, I'm not giving you ads or product placements. It really is a personal thing. It's like me telling you what jeans to wear. Well, I don't even wear jeans. What shoes to wear, what t-shirts to wear. It makes no sense. But it doesn't have to be expensive. And then as you go, you can start to upgrade. How has my content changed over time? Well, I went from the smartphone to a camera. I wasn't just going to jump to thousands of dollars, right? So I went up to a mirrorless camera, which means it's a camera with the one lens built in. You can't change the lens. It's just a kind of an entry-level camera. It had a microphone jack. That's cool. You know, it had more settings to make it look a little bit sexier. And then as I progressed, I realized I wanted to play around with more different angles and shots. So I invested in a DSLR camera, a camera that comes with a body and the lenses are sold separately, right? So you can buy additional lenses. We've talked about how to record a video and the kind of things you need. What am I talking about? How am I going to talk about this? How will I remember what I'm saying? How will I keep on track? And then you've got, how do I create things like a thumbnail, which every YouTube video has to have? How do I create artwork? What am I doing now? This is too much. Suddenly I'm a graphic designer. I'm a video editor. I'm a writer. I'm a presenter. Holy hell. You're a one-man band, my friend. I've always used platforms like Canva. Again, it's not an ad. I'm not making money off them. There are no links, no commissions. I'm just saying, I'm just being honest. I've used Canva. Okay, there's a lot of platforms out there, you know, that have these types of easy to use, as in I don't need a degree in Photoshop, right? And that you should use them. They have thumbnail templates. Like I could literally go into a platform like Canva and create a YouTube thumbnail from a template. It's already ready to go. I've just got to put in what I want to put in, find my background, put in my picture, and then, you know, put in the text if need be. So creating the graphics, the artwork is so easy these days. We are so lucky. The world has changed so much. You don't need to hire someone for $1,000 an hour that knows Photoshop to make a thumbnail you can make in literally 5 minutes on a free app or a paid app, whatever floats your boat. So that's really fantastic. Let's go back to the start. You want to share your special interests. You want to share your lived experiences. You want to share your support tips. You want to share your hacks. You want to share your thoughts, your life. It has to be authentic. It has to be vulnerable. And it has to be manageable, achievable. Let's focus on a topic. So you want to talk about special interests. Okay, cool. Let's focus on the topic of special interests. What are special interests? Why are they important to you? What are your special interests? That is how you would break down a topic. You want to talk about lived experiences. Okay, on what? So you have to find a topic. What's the topic? What do you want to talk about? And then it comes down to that one thought idea. Okay, so this topic is going to be about this. Making a YouTube video is like telling a story. And the only way to tell a story is to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You're going to say, no crap, Orion. Like, seriously, no shit, mate. Okay, but hang on a second. It's more profound than that. A beginning is you getting to know the story. Right? The beginning will tell you, I'm going to tell you a story. It's going to be about blah. What is this topic? Let's define it. Let's talk about this topic. Do you understand what the topic is now? You get the topic? Great. Okay, fantastic. Okay, cool. Let's get to the middle. Okay. Now, in a story, in a movie, or the star, the story, something in their life will go awry, will go wrong. There'll be challenges. Okay, so in a YouTube video, in an autistic or neurodivergent sense, what does that mean? Okay, so I've defined this topic. Now let's talk about how this particular topic affects us, how this particular thing is a challenge for autistic people, for neurodivergent people, how it really sucks the life out of us, right? How we struggle. I'm going to share some experiences of how I've personally struggled with this, being authentic and vulnerable. And then the end is, in a movie, the hero overcomes the struggles and saves the day and lives happily ever after. Gets the girl, saves this, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So the ending in this context would be, okay, so I've defined what this topic is, and I've told you why it is really bloody horrible and how hard it is for autistic people and why we hate this and why we struggle with this and why it's so bad and so real. And now the end is I'm going to give you some personal experiences, some tips, some hacks, some ideas on how you can overcome it or how you can navigate through it, how you could avert it from happening. But now I want to know, how do you come up with topics? You write a hit the same way you write a flop. Think about that. No one goes, I'm going to come up with a topic that's going to be a hit. No. You just come up with a topic. Let's talk about barriers. I think it's really important. Okay, so you're a neurodivergent person, autistic person. You could have ADHD. You could be both. It doesn't matter where you find yourself on the neurodivergent spectrum. You will have barriers as a content creator. And by the way, if you've ever watched How to Be a YouTube Star in 2025 videos, have they been anything like this? I'm thinking probably no. Why is that? Because I'm autistic and I'm here to help neurodivergent people create content. And guess what? It's done differently. And why is that? Because our bloody brain is. It's going to be different. There will be barriers. YouTube and content creation is about consistency. It's as simple as that. Here's a barrier. Consistency of content creation and being neurodivergent is bloody hard. It's unfortunately something you're going to have to face, because if you can't produce and publish a video weekly or fortnightly, then chances are you're going to struggle to find a community. It doesn't mean it's not valuable work. I just want to be open and honest. I want you to know that you may never build a big community or have great success, but you still may change the lives of others by simply sharing content. So I want you to know that being a content creator on YouTube or anywhere and advocating for the needs of autistic people, neurodivergent people, is an invaluable service you're providing. But there's a difference between providing an invaluable service, this comes back to the why, and just saying, I want to be a successful, famous YouTuber. Well, you don't. If you don't, you don't. If you're not committed to being authentic and vulnerable and consistent and working, then you don't. But that's okay. It's okay. Why? Because you can still change the lives of people. I want to be very clear about this. No one can judge you based on how many followers you have or subscribers or views. That's all irrelevant if you're changing the lives of others through your content creation. So the barriers are going to be neurotypical barriers. I haven't had a viral video. Oh, really? Okay. Why? They're neurotypical expectations. Have you reached someone? Has one person resonated with your video and taken the time to comment and say that? Then you're winning. Other barriers you are going to face, in addition to neurotypical expectations, you're going to face your own neurotypical expectations. I'm neurodivergent. Yes. But when you go into the world of content creation, you mask. You pretend that you are neurotypical and you will be just like them. And that's the biggest mistake you can ever be. Trying to create or be or act or seem neurotypical is the biggest mistake you'll ever make. You need to be yourself and stand out in all your glory. This also feeds into things like imposter syndrome. Okay, so you're an autistic person, you're on YouTube, you make videos. What's going to happen? Imposter syndrome will take over. It will start to play games with you. And regardless of the size of your channel, day 1, day 1,000, you are going to experience hate. You are going to experience negativity. You're going to experience bullying, harassment even. This is the world of content creation. If you are going to create content for the world at large and place it on platforms available to the world at large are going to come knocking. Bottom line is, you have to understand that's just part of the game. Autistic people are very sensitive, and we don't take too kindly to these types of bullying scenarios. We've been bullied for so long, we hate that sense of justice being broken. That's not fair. That's not right. You can't do that. You can't behave like that. Well, they can because they're allowed to. So you have to understand that is going to happen, and you have to come up with a plan that works for you. Everyone's different. Another barrier is our capacity to deal with all our demands and pressures in life. So you may be a mum, a dad, a husband, a father, a partner. You may have other things to juggle. You probably do. So you're now adding content creation to the mix. Now, your capacity only goes so far. As autistic people, our capacity, as a rule, will reach, for every autistic person, will reach a point in our life where it's no longer able to meet the daily stresses and demands placed upon us. That's just part of being autistic. So you're going to have to navigate that. You're going to have to work out the sweet spot. Now, that is going to lead, if you don't listen to that, to meltdowns, shutdowns, and more importantly, autistic burnout. And what happens then? Then you can't even be a parent or a partner or an employee because you've starved yourself of what you need. You've pushed yourself past the point of your capacity. And that's a barrier. Now, these are barriers that neurotypical people, as a rule, are not going to experience. You are not a neurotypical person. You're a neurodivergent person. You could be an autistic person with an autistic brain. And yes, you have a different capacity level. And this is taken away by daily pressures and stresses and triggers that neurotypical people don't always have to deal with because they're not autistic. They don't have the same sensory triggers, for example. And this is an absolute barrier. So the barriers, in a way, can be very different. But in saying that, one of the main and last barriers is this autistic perfectionism. Autistic people are constantly judging ourselves badly and harshly. And if it's not right, if it's not perfect, it's nothing. It's useless. This is a problem. Your content will never be perfect. Your content will never be what you think it should be. It's going to be what you create. It's like saying, I have a vision of this beautiful picture in my mind. And then when I painted it, it didn't look exactly the same or it didn't look that similar at all. And someone says, but it's a beautiful painting. I absolutely love this painting. But it doesn't look like my vision, so it's a failure. No. See, that's not how content creation, which is art, works. You can have inspiration in your mind to put something on the canvas or out there in content land, but what you put out there will always be different to what you envisioned because you actually have to create it. And this is something that autistic people can get really hung up on. This video is not good enough. I don't think it's right. I might start again. The light was not great. This was not great. It's like, seriously? Like, unless there's a legitimate technical issue where the sound doesn't work, or the whole video is blurry and it's out of focus or all this kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Then you got to scrap it. But, perfectionism is a real struggle for autistic content creators, and it's something you really need to look out for. The boundaries are there, but you also have to manage the idea that to be really you and to reach people and help people, you are going to need to be uncomfortable. You are going to have to share things or put yourself in a place that is uncomfortable. The last thing I want to talk about is lessons I've learned, advice I have, mistakes I've made, questions I get quite a lot. When you start creating content, you don't actually know how it's going to go, how it's going to work, because you haven't found you as a content creator. So the mistake you can make is forcing who you think you are. And frankly, it's probably going to take anywhere from 100 to 500 videos before you really go, this is who I am as a content creator, right? This is who I am as a content creator. And it's okay. It's okay for it to take time. Other things I've learned as an autistic content creator is don't overcomplicate stuff. Don't overcomplicate the cameras, the lighting, the background. Don't overcomplicate the subject. Don't overcomplicate the editing. A key piece of advice that I would pass on now from my experience of making the mistake over time is to try and minimize, if not cut out, all peripheral stuff that doesn't need to be in the video. Now, this might be in the editing process, but more importantly, it should probably be in the scripting process, okay? Because when you're recording a video, you are recording it based on some sort of bullet point or script you've written, right? Because this is a topic. But it's much easier to not put it in the script than to edit it out. What am I talking about? All the peripheral stuff, like your life story every time, every platform you're available on, verbally going through them all, mistake I've made. Begging, pleading, asking people to like and subscribe and comment and share every video. Mistakes I've made. Frankly, this is just completely irrelevant. If you're watching a video on YouTube, I've learned this now. If you're watching a video on YouTube, you know where the goddamn like button is. You know where the subscribe button is. You know how to comment. You know how to share. People will do that if it resonates with you. So stop asking them, stop telling them, stop begging them, pleading them. We don't need to hear the life story. That's why I said at the very start, what's your why? Okay, what's the mission statement? That's what you've got to say. You start your video. Who you are, what your mission statement is. Now here's the topic. Another advice based on my own personal experience is less is more. But you must balance less is more with what feels authentic to you. People always go, you should make your videos shorter. But in fact, in a recent community questionnaire I did, the top 2 answers, as in the top 2 responses, were shorter videos and longer videos. In simple terms, what I'm saying is the length of your video shouldn't be as judged or as important as you think it is. People might say that's too long. It doesn't matter. It's too long for them. It's not too long for everyone, right? So the length of a video has nothing to do with the time. It has to do with the content. Make sure less is more, as in all the points are being given, all the experiences. I've edited this to the point where I really love it from start to finish. That is the time. The only issue is if you haven't verified your account, you won't be able to post videos over 15 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Now that just is a very simple verification process, through Google or Gmail or YouTube or whatever, right? And you should definitely do that. You want the ability to publish videos over 15 minutes, simply put. And it's very simple. Whether it's your phone number, your email or whatever. But keep that in mind. If you do create a video over 15 minutes and you go to publish it, and you don't realize why it won't let you, it's because you haven't verified your account and therefore you're restricted. So I would think that's one of the first things to do, to make sure it's verified and it's all set up, you're all ready to go. And then the length of your video has no relevance. The duration is based on the quality of the content. Less is more, absolutely. But by the same token, quality content is quality content. And I hope by doing this video and watching this video, you've realized in just the presentation of it that you will do it differently. And it's all about believing in yourself and just going for it. We want you to be a part of this awesome community we're building of autistic and neurodivergent content creators. So get creating. And if you have any follow-up questions, just whack them in the comments below.